Watch this video and then we'll talk about it.
There are men on this earth, right, that will see a woman and see that she has a lot going for herself. She got a nice car, she dresses well, she probably got some paper, right? And we may want her. So a lot of times we'll put on an image. First date, we at Steak 48, knowing that I make $30,000 a year, but I'm taking her to a steakhouse on the first date, setting precedent that I'm not gonna be able to follow through on. And I may be able to do it just enough to convince her ass that I'm the man that she wants me to be, or whatever the case may be, and then we get into the relationship and I can't sustain it, right?
The number one dating mistake that I see a lot of women make, and that I have made myself in the past, is getting excited too soon. You're not even on date number 3 before you're trying to figure out if his last name sounds good with your first name. Sure, everything is going to be great in the beginning because you don't know anything about each other and you're intrigued and you're probably attracted to each other. And as women, a lot of us are searching for our finally moment. Finally, I found the one. Finally, I can delete these dating apps. Finally, I found a good man. But I don't care how many stories that people tell you about how they knew and they got married a week later. That is not very smart, and you're still taking a gamble, and those relationships end too. And I heard a creator talk about this last year, about how women should not only decenter men, but decenter romance, and I agree 100%. We've watched the Disney stories, we've watched the romantic comedy, so all of us want to have that magical story about how we met the one, when in actuality, all that stuff is great, don't get me wrong. Actually, you need to pull yourself out of the situation. Ask yourself, why are you rushing? You really don't know this person at all. And there are exceptions to the rule of people who met someone and they got married the next day and they lived happily ever after. But again, we should not be striving to be the exception to the rule. I have seen so many women meet men and move in with them or move them in. And a lot of these women have kids and they just want to hurry up and have a 2-parent household and have this perfect family, and their kids wind up getting harmed in the meantime. You got to slow down. I get it. He's super cute. He's super funny. He's super interesting. He's interesting because you don't know him. And as women, we have to be careful that we're not projecting ourselves onto these men. Is he funny, or are you just funny and y'all are laughing together? Is he interesting, or is this simply new and exciting as you are getting to know each other? Anybody has the potential to be interesting. I can go to the grocery store and be standing in line and strike up a conversation with a random person behind you, and they're interesting. Being attracted to someone does not a future make. Okay? You can be attracted to anyone, and that anyone be an axe murderer. We gotta stop rushing, okay? And we gotta stop getting wrapped up in the romance of everything. Why do you have to hurry up? Why do you have to be married tomorrow? Would you hand over your wallet to a random stranger at the gas station? No. Why is that? Well, I don't know them. But because you're attracted to this random guy that you've met once, you would trust him with your life? How the fuck does that even make any sense? I think a lot of us women need to have a healthy level of skepticism. People try to villainize us and tell us that we have our guard up and yada yada, whatever the fuck. But we need to be smart, because statistics show that we are constantly put in harm's way, taken advantage of, screwed over by these men. So when people say, I did A and we wound up happily ever after for 15 years. First of all, I don't know who came up with the idea that length of time meant quality time. Who came up with the idea that being together a long time automatically means that your relationship is a healthy one? Whoever came up with that idea, because that's ridiculous. So many of our grandparents and even our parents were married for a long time and were miserable. So you telling me we've been together for 20 years means absolutely nothing to me. We need to stop romanticizing women making bad decisions. And there's always somebody like, well, I didn't know. Listen, My question to anyone advising me to do something that really isn't smart and in my best interest, my first thought is, why do they want me to be like them? Are they just validating the decision that they made? Like, what's going on here? Because I know women who they met someone and got married really quickly. And maybe they got lucky and it ended up well for them, but they would tell you, take your fucking time. Because they know that they got lucky. They know that they played Russian roulette, and they know that they took a chance. I'm not impressed with any man that can take me out to eat to a nice restaurant the first couple of times. Like the guy in that video said, a lot of men probably just got paid. They got a couple of dollars that they need to be putting towards a bill, but they're going to use that to try to impress you. But that they're not going to be able to sustain that. I've dated men who the first couple of dates were really nice, and then slowly things started to taper off into less glamorous, cheap, and now we're just Netflix and chilling because they were putting on a front. A lot of these men know that you're all that in a bag of chips. They know they don't measure up, but they know they have to play a part in order to get your attention and to keep you coming around. And if they can get you emotionally invested and get you really excited and get you caught up in a whirlwind, they can get you hooked. And next thing you know, now you're paying the light bill and he's in the basement with his hand in his pants playing video games all day. And I totally understand that men can switch up at any point. You could give a guy 10 years and he switch it up on year 11. However, I would like the peace of mind of knowing that, hey, I at least tried my best to vet this person. And I didn't rush out of desperation. I took my time. I didn't get caught up in having a love story to tell people, and if I go through all that and then that person switched it up, hey, it is what it is. You can't, sometimes men be menning and you're blindsided. That's totally one thing. But I don't want to go head first into it, making a poor decision and immediately setting myself up for failure right away from the jump.